Bakit mabaho ang utot?
Lulubog na ba ang Pilipinas?
Mahihain ba ang makahiya?
Bakit bumabagyo sa Pinas?
Mga katanungang bumabagabag sa kaisipan ni Juan, halika, bigyan natin ng mga siyentipikong kasagutan. Ito ang inyong gurong lakan mula sa Bulacan, Sir Red. At ito ang Hainay na Tagham the Podcast Year 2. Pakinggan sa lahat ng major podcast streaming platforms. Tara, matuto, magsaliksik, magkaroon ng dagdag na kaalaman. Haynayan, magpakailanman.
If you like this episode, please rate the podcast 5 stars 6 and take it home. This podcast is a member of Bunk Collective.
Welcome to your unfiltered Tagalog Wrestling Podcast. And this is the MTV Show Podcast, a wrestling podcast.
Ayun. Another episode with this shit. Ayun. So again, bear with me as we welcome you. Oh fuck. Here we go. So it's Friday. You know what that means. Welcome to your unfiltered Tagalog Wrestling Podcast. And this is the MTG Show Podcast, the Wrestling Podcast. Ayun. So, for this week's episode, tuloy-tuloy pa rin tayo sa earphones, microphone bullshit ko. Kasi di pa ako nakakabili ng cable. So, probably next week na yun. After ng sales, bibili ako. Putangin na kasi. Sayang ang 38 din yun. Shipping fee. So, ayan. So, sana naman maganda yung audio ko sa inyo using this shit earphones while I'm still thinking na ako ano yung bibili kong cable for my XLR. And para sa crown jewel protections natin by next week, tayo naka-XLR microphone na ulit. So, for the meantime, let's talk about our review for Halloween Havoc. Wow. Matatapos lang nung Halloween Havoc last Sunday. Then we're going to talk about basically everything what happened on pro wrestling this week. This week. So, yeah, before we start, I want to invite you guys, please follow us on all of the socials at MTG Show Pod. Soon sa YouTube, pag nagkaroon na ng YouTube handle, magkakaroon na rin tayo ng isang uniform ng ating mga social media platforms. So you can follow me on that platform YouTube at youtube.com/the MTG Show Pod. So once we have the YouTube handle, isang handle na tayo sa lahat ng socials natin. So it's at the MTG Show Pod. Also may community na rin tayo sa YouTube. So you can join our discussions there and you can subscribe, press the bell for the upcoming episodes as well here on the podcast. And also, you can now donate and support the podcast on ganknow.com/the MTA Show Pod. As low as $1 a month, you can access our subscriber-only content on the platform. Plus more stuff coming really, really soon. For more podcasts, of course, Bunk Collective, thebunkph.com. You can support us on Bunk, on all of the socials ng Bunk at the Bunk stage. Yeah, yun lang muna. So let's start with our Halloween Havoc review. So, mag-umpisa tayo. Pababa, I guess. Let's start with the NXT Championship. It's Ilya Dragunov versus JD McDonough versus Braun Breaker. Triple Threat Rules NXT Championship. Okay, so there's two problems that I saw. Problems muna tayo. Kasi I love the match personally, okay? This is definitely my match of the week, no? And if you know na sobrang ganda ng pinakita actually ni Braun and Ilya Dragunov on this thing, kasi dadagdag mo pa si JD McDonough. Man, that was so good. Goes with the problems. Number one, bakit hindi nila makapitalize kay kay Bon? Mamaya natin pag-uusapan si Von Wagner. At di nila makapitalize yung championship on Ilya Dragunov. To be fair, Ilya Dragunov is a OG UK star and a stud as well. Pwedeng-pwede siya na maging champion leading to the NXT Europe. While they're sticking with Braun. Braun Breaker, to be fair, is a very good superstar and a very good wrestler. But there's something na hinding-hindi ko makita kay Braun. I think yung pagiging face niya of the company, wala, hindi ko siya gaanong makita sa kanya. Medyo I'm still being disappointed on his feuds. Simula nung kay Joe Gacy, you know, a lot of my frustrations, nasabi ko na yun here on the show few months back. Then, marami ako masyadong masamang elemento na nakita about the run of Braun Breaker. Then maybe they should refresh the feud picture or the championship picture for Braun Breaker after that match. Kasi di ba naman tutungo yung isa. Next week naman on NXT, he will announce or he will address the situation next week kasi wala naman siyang components on this way. Probably we're getting Braun versus Apollo by November or December maybe. Then, yun lang. So the match itself, it's a fun match. I'm not going to say it's a really, really good, but the match was fun. Sabihin ko lang, fun. So nice to watch. And Braun Breaker problems continues here on the podcast, apparently. And yun lang. Then, let's move on to the women's title match. I'm sorry about that. So, it's Mandy Rose defending the women's title versus Alba Fire. Almost this week marks the anniversary of her title win at NXT Halloween Havoc from last year. So, ito na nga yung I love the first half of this title match, yung cinematic bullshit ito, yung mind games ni Alba Fire, especially on the the side of toxic attraction. Toxic attraction always does. And especially yung going to give my MVP on that kay Casey Jane at saka kay kay Priscilla Kelly, kay Gigi Dolin. Wow, that was a good cinematic match, trust me. But second half, however, is basically a disaster. So, yun lang. Basically, that was a disaster. Um, you can expect if Mandy Rose is comparing for the championship. So, yeah, basically, that's a disaster for me. The ambulance match, however, is kind of fun too. Pero I don't really expect na Diamond Camp will win. Kasi kung mananalo siya, siya lang makikinabang. 'Pag nanalo si walang sense kay Diamond Camp yung rematch. Wala rin naman nangyari after nun, 'di ba? Di rin naman nila pinakita ng matindi si Damon Camp, 'di ba? At hindi rin naman siya nagpakita. Instead, there's Beer Mahan and Sangga, tama ba? Instead, there's Beer and Sanga. Sangga ba o Sanga? Basta yun, to save him from the trouble. So, yeah, the team is now official ulit. Probably it's a three-member team, stable ulit. Let's see. Marami pa tayong pwedeng makita. The ambulance match was too personal. Di ko siya pwede sabihin na fun din. And regardless of that, that was a really good thing for the pre-pay-per-view. Okay? During the event. Then let's go on to the Weapons Wild Roxanne Perez versus Cora Jade. Personal thought ko, this is better than the Bailey Bianca from Extreme Rules and Liv Morgan and Ronda from Extreme Rules 2. Ewan ko, pansin ko, parang mas mas maganda yung pag-build nila dito sa feud and it looks more personal. Hindi naman sa sinasabi natin na it's too cliche, pero I think they're securing the feud better than the two feuds that I mentioned. No? Pero regardless naman, the match itself, Roxanne and Cora, they work really, really well. And I think there's one problem. Isa lang yung notable spot na nagustuhan between Roxanne and but regardless, it's a fun match. It's a fun match. Pero yeah, it is. It's a fun match. Then, casket match between Apollo Crews and Grayson Waller. Ito yung match na medyo hindi ko nagustuhan. Medyo, yes, it's kinda ano, sa kickoff in-announce kung ano yung step, pero hindi ko 'to nagustuhan kasi on the idea parang wala namang ano sa kanila, wala namang gano'ng dead man something. Parang pinilit na lang nila na ilagay yung casket match step on those two. Mas maganda siguro kung ibang step yung nakuha nila. Siguro mas maganda yung magiging execution. Pero yeah, that was a little bit fun. Parang Grayson Waller is very good. Pero yung ganito kasi parang hindi bagay sa kanilang dalawa. Parang it's okay. Parang, here we go. Let's forget about it. Ayun, basically yun yung concept ng feud nila. Mm. And yeah, di pa tayo tapos dun, for sure. Then the first match of the card, that was a ladder match. So it's Carmelo Hayes, Ora Mensah, Wesley, Von Wagner, and Nathan Fraser. Ewan ko, pero ang MVP ko dito is si Von Wagner. I don't know. Muntik na siya pumatay ng tao dun sa ring. Hindi. Parang tinamaan niya yung, as far as I know, tinamaan niya yung crowd member. Oo. And nakakaunggoy na tinamaan niya. Tangina kasi. Ayaw mo ayusin. Nagbo-botch ka pa diyan. But regardless, the win of Wesley really deserves the win doon sa ladder match. Kung hindi siguro si Wes yung tingin ko, it should be ano eh, pwede ko sabihin na maybe Nathan Fraser needs that win. But yeah, it is. That was a fun match, fun ladder match. And I don't think na this pay-per-view is bad. Hindi ko iniisip yun. But this pay-per-view is so fun. No? And I don't expect a lot, really. Ayun, dagdagan natin. So, Shotzi returned to NXT with Quincy Elliott as the official host of NXT Halloween Havoc. Hosting-wise, okay, it's a kind of fun. Shotzi doing hosting. Then that Lash Legend bullshit on the half of the show. It's kind of irritating, but yeah, it is. It's part of WWE's algorithm when it comes to hosts. And then ito, pag-usapan natin top 3 matches ko before we go to our fallout and yung scores. No? Yun na yung pagsamahin na natin sa isang show. Ayun, yung scores muna, the ladder match was 4 out of 5. Casket is 3. The weapons wild is 3.5. Okay, 3.5. Final na. Then the ambulance is 3.5. Then the women's title is 3. The NXT championship is 4.5. Let's go on to the fallout. Before that, let's talk about my top 3 matches. Top 3, definitely the ladder match, the main event, and yung kina Roxanne Perez, yung weapons fight. So let's go to the fallout of NXT before we go to our commercial. It's gonna be real quick. So we got 2 title matches, the NXT tag and the NXT women's tag. It's Hayden Carter and Katana Chance versus Dion Kita Lions and Zoe Stark. Okay. So itong match na 'to basically was ended in a controversial win by Zoe. Hindi, ano ba? It's Zoe, eh. Oo, si Zoe nga. Then, after of the match, after nila ma-crown as women's champion, the referee immediately calls for a restart kasi 'di ba, eh, controversial pin nga, hindi tamang competitor yung na-pin nung dalawa. Then, ayun, match was restarted and they pinned the Kita Lions to win the title. Then yun, the titles was retained. Then, there's another match, Pretty Deadly versus Edris Enofe and Malik Blade for the NXT Tag Team titles. The match is so fucking good. Wala akong masabi. The match was so fucking good. They, I don't like the gimmicks of those two before. Pero sila, no, Malik Blade, they're slowly growing on habang tumatagal yung NXT ito. NXT 2.0, 3.0. Those guys are growing to me slowly. And the match is so fun. Okay, maganda yung laban. Then, here we go. R-Truth made his appearance on NXT. Okay. So, that was fun. He interrupt Wesley's promo after of his win for the NXT North American Championship, and that was fun. Yeah, admit that. That was a fun promo by R-Truth. And, ayun, that was a really, really good proposal by Grayson Waller. Then, nilait pa nga ni R-Truth yung accent ni Grayson. That was fun. Sinabi niya na siya daw ay sinabi niya siya daw ay British kahit sinabi naman niya na Australian siya. And that was fun, man. Then, here we go with the reveal of the fourth member of Schism. So, they revealed the daughter of The Rock. Yes, The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. That's Eva Rain, that's Eva Rain officially, aka Simon Johnson. Yeah, tama ako. Ayun, Simon Johnson, aka Eva Rain, made her NXT debut. Ito, simple lang thoughts ko dito. Okay naman siya sa akin. Iba yung timpla ng appearance niya, ibang-iba, as in. Sabi ko, sabihin na naman natin na but we're getting fourth gen, third gen superstars. It's good to me. Okay? Okay din naman na nag-iiba yung distinguish sa mga superstars na. Hindi rin okay na parang bootleg yung mga anak o kung sino man yung mga counterparts nila sa mga pamilya nila. Hindi okay sa akin yun. Na okay, si Rey Mysterio at si Dominic ganyan, hindi okay sa akin yun. For real talk real talk to. At least si Braun, may sarili siyang character. Etong si Liberain, mag-grow siya on that character. For now, at least for now. Mag-grow siya doon. And habang naggo-grow siya on that character, let's see kung ano yung sabihin ng tao na, anak 'to ni Rock. So, ine-expect natin na magaling siya mag-promo. Pero on her first promo on NXT, that was fine. I'm not going to say it's good, I'm not going to say it's bad. That was good, okay? So, yun lang. Congratulations to Ava Rain on your debut, and I cannot wait to see you in Bloodline really, really soon. There's the main event. So, Ilya Dragunov versus JD McDonough for this week's NXT main event. Okay, so this is a big, really good match. They're hyping up this match since the start of NXT. And ang masabi ko lang, this is okay. We're just justifying the status of JD McDonough as the top contender ulit since hindi naman si JD yung napin on that championship match at Halloween Havoc. So, yeah, that was fun main event by JD and Ilya. Yun nga lang, nakatulog si Ilya after of that main event. Was brought out of the ambulance. And it is what it is. It's a really good promo. It was a, that was a good match on their own. No? So, yeah, basically, that's it for my NXT review plus yung Halloween Havoc review natin. So, they announced as well na magkakaroon ng premium live event ulit on December 10. That's NXT Deadline. Yung letter I, ba letter I? Letter I is number 1. Yan, alam ko na yung meaning nun. Alamin natin soon once mag-teaser na sila ulit. Ayun, bonus na natin, may nagpaparamdam sa NXT. Yep. May nag may na-receive tayong video about that. Hindi ko muna yan. I'm going to let the story play out for now. Pero let's see. It looks like a news table in the NXT. Yeah, and Triple H or Shawn Michaels definitely loves tables on the main roster as well. So yeah, yun lang for our podcast on NXT. We're going to take our first commercial break. When we come back, we're going to continue with the main roster WWE and eventually AEW and the rest of our talks this week on the podcast. But first, we're going to take our first commercial break. Let's check our bunkmates here on Bunk Collective.
Hey everyone, this is Mo Twister, and you're listening to the Kingdom Podcast with the voice DJ Yuki.
That was the OG, Mo Twister, promoting this podcast. If you like Korean pop culture, or know someone who does, then get into it, and visit our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram pages at the Kingdom Pod PH.
We're proud to tell you that this is one of the premier shows to go to for your weekly dose of K-pop. So drop everything and listen to the Kingdom Podcast. Available in all your podcast streaming platforms.
Join us!
Picture this. Two guys talking about true crime,
Weird mysteries,
horror stories,
but the conversation is light
and mostly funny.
and sometimes naughty.
This is Scriptsalog.
A Spotify exclusive.
I'm Gideon.
And I'm Glenn, and we're serving huge portions of horror and true crime twice a week.
We'll make sure your cravings are satisfied.
And you'll be begging for more.
Char.
Check us out.
This is Scriptsalog, available exclusively on Spotify.
Sales, profit, and engagement na naman ang usapan. Hey guys, Matt and Lance here. Corporate guys rin kami at pagod na rin kami sa ganyang usapang office. Ibahin naman natin ang mga kausap natin. Listen to guests from careers beyond the corporate scene with the Project Offbeat Career Podcast. Imagine talking to historians, gamers, teachers, and the like on how they live differently and succeed in their unconventional careers. Baka sakali, ito naman ang sign to pursue your passions. Kita-kits sa Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube.
Ayun, so welcome back to the show. Sorry about that. We fixed a lot of technicalities. Pangatlong record ko na to sa part na to. So let's start with the the bloodline thing. So Sheamus fought the bloodline in a match. In case is this Solo Sikoa. So yeah, I love how these guys are magkasama sila on the ring. Hindi talaga pwedeng mawala si Sheamus sa routine ko when it comes to watching SmackDown. And that was so fucking good to see him go to the picture once again. Active na ulit si Roman and nagko-continue na yung build for NXT for WWE Survivor Series War Games. And then lang naman, konting thoughts ko about it. Then let's move on to the Bray Wyatt thing. So yeah, Bray Wyatt is teasing a lot lately. And ito, ang posible lang naman mangyari about this Wyatt sex or Wyndham sex is it's basically his own news table na siya lang yung member with a lot of personas. And we're going to get that slowly habang tumatagal. So basically, si Windham, Rotonda, then this new Bray Wyatt that we got last week. Then may possible pa The Fiend, yung kanyang nasa mask, lumabas siya sa Extreme Rules, and many more. Marami pa tayo malalaman once this story plays out. Matagal pang play out to for Bray Wyatt. Then, eto. So we got a women's tag team title match. So basically, Damage Control defeated Shotzi and Raquel Rodriguez. So like what I said, it's so nice to see the women's title once again. Always do. And yep, that was I miss the women's tag titles in my point of view. Sobrang nami-miss ko. Ayun, then we got on Raw. So Raw na tayo. So Carl Anderson versus Finn Balor was a really, really good one from this week's Raw. There's a lot of good segments on this week's Raw. Let's add the R-Truth, the Johnny Gargano, and the men's segment. That was a really, really good segment too. And, ano ba? The matches, pwede ko pa mention, Mustafa Ali and Theory versus, Mustafa versus Theory, Austin Theory was a really, really good contest. And also yung Gable versus Elias. Man, Elias is on fire. Gable definitely is one of the most underrated guys in WWE history. Today, 2022. Okay, then we got Corbin beating Ciampa or Gargano. Yun. So I think it's just a justification for the upcoming gimmick and it makes sense din naman kasi there's a feud then on Johnny Gargano. So yeah, it's kind of understandable for me. Then on the main event, Bailey defeated Bianca Belair for the woman. Wala siyang ano. It's basically a non-title match. It feels incomplete to me. Feels incomplete match. Despite of this match is being fun as fuck. Feeling ko there's a little bit of kulang. Sobrang kulang nun. Napaka-importante doon sa match na yon. And that's the Raw Women's Championship. I wish na the title is on the line. Sana take over sana yon doon sa stable nila. It's basically Damage Control all belts. Sobrang sayang. Sana title on the line na lang din yun ulit. Diba? Title on the line na lang sana ulit. Then, ito, let's add some rumors before we go to our AEW and Impact. Ayan, pagsama-samahin natin dito sa second half na 'to para walang tayong third. Basically maikli lang episode natin. Then, ayun, here's a news. Hell in a Cell will be dropped as a pay-per-view or premium live event. Sabi ito ni Triple H sa isang interview na dapat ang Hell in a Cell is hindi talaga annual, no? Dapat ang Hell in a Cell ay ginagamit lang sa mga feuds na sobrang personal. For example, Edge versus Rollins from last year, yung itong kay Edge and Cody tsaka kay Seth, maybe Judgment Day versus Rey. Ang Hell in a Cell naman talaga dapat gano'n. Hindi siya yung parang, it's a Hell in a Cell season. We need to put at least 1, 2, 3 Hell in a Cell matches per year. 'Di ba nakakayamot? Hindi naman talaga dapat gano'n ang ginagawa sa Hell in a Cell, but Vince McMahon is Vince McMahon. And wala tayong magagawa do'n. And at least here on the new era of Triple H, we're getting something new. And also, King of the Ring is rumored na magre-return daw as a premium live event by next year. I'm going to take it with a grain of salt, pero mas okay sa akin na pay-per-view talaga si King of the Ring. Okay? Mas okay yun, mas okay sa akin yun. Pero marami din naman may okay sa King of the Ring format na yun. And to you guys, let me guys know, sino ba yung huling relevant na King of the Ring para sa inyo? Ako kasi, I would say it's either Corbin o kaya si Xavier Woods kasi hindi ko ramdam masyado. Si Corbin, at least ramdam ko. And the gimmick kasi, mga nagiging king kasi, sobrang effective pag faces, sobrang opposite. Parang, ah, this is random. And then, ayan, so yeah, it's a little bit understandable why we are getting this King of the Ring back as a premium live event. Tama. Then, second item, WWE pa din. Elimination Chamber is now announced as a premium live event on February 18, 2023 in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. So this is gonna be the first WWE premium live event since 2009. And it's gonna be the first one since Breaking Point na magte-take place sa Bell Center in Montreal. So yeah, congratulations Canada for another first. That's their first since 2009. So yeah, that was huge. Then, isa pa, Carl Anderson is, ito na naman tayo, double booking. So, ito na nga yung story. So, Carl Anderson is booked in a New Japan event sa I think on November 5 dapat. Then, suddenly, WWE, nag-return na pala siya sa WWE nang hindi alam ni New Japan. And then, si WWE naman, binook si Anderson for a New Japan, for a match, 6-man tag at Crown Jewel. So, double booking ito, di ba? Si New Japan, naglabas ng statement na ibibigay yung championship anytime soon. Kasi, di ba, hindi na nga susunod yung responsibility for a championship. I wish they can do it sa WWE. Roman Reigns. Ayun, so, ayun, update lang naman. Pero sinabi rin ni Hikuleo na aantayin niya si Carl Anderson and he will beat him for the championship. And actually, he didn't want to, Carl to vacant championship. So, yeah, yun lang sa akin. Then let's go on to AEW. Let's continue our AEW talk here. Number one, we got konti lang naman. So we got tensions on Blackpool Combat Club. So Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta defeated Jericho and Garcia in a tag team match to open this week's Dynamite match. I thought it's kind of fun. Then next we got the number one contenders match for the AW tag team titles. So Swerve in Our Glory defeated FTR in a contenders match. It's gonna make sense to me since may feuds na rin sila versus the Gun Club. So yeah, I get the reasoning here. Then, ayun. So we got two things here in mind. Number one, we got a teaser for a Elite return. Ayun. So parang nawawala, parang na Thanos yung Elite, na Thanos yung lahat ng reference on AEW and Kenny Omega and Young Bucks. So yun, basically na Thanos. And basically, it's a return na tinitis ng AEW. Maybe they're teasing it for a Dynamite. Maybe they're teasing it for Full Gear. So, mamili na lang kayo doon kung saan talaga babalik ang Yamax and Daily. Ayun. Plus, dagdag natin yung ilang pang matches na sobrang ganda this week's Dynamite. So, Sami Brian Tenyoso match was so fucking good. And yung tao talaga, sobrang wala nang pake kay Sammy Guevara. I'm so fucking sad on that guy. Pero I don't blame the people din. Then, ito, Ryan Danielson, always slaying when it comes to the ring. Then on the main event, of course, Penta was defeated by John Moxley to retain his AEW title. Yeah, what a good match on this week's main event of Dynamite. Ano pa ba? So, finally, after of the match, nga pala lumabas yung The Firm. They beat the living head of John Moxley. Then, MJF stops the Firm from attacking Moxley. Then, here's the catch. May catch dito. Panoorin nyo to. So, the main event, yung after nun, MJF fired Stonkley and the Firm, and then they attacked him. They attacked him as a stable, and ayun, they attacked him as a stable. Tapos, ito pa, they put him on a table just like the good times kay MJF last year. So, yeah. Ito, alam niyo sa akin, ang lumalabas dito sa akin, it's just a ruse, okay? It's just a card. Parang they're using the Daniel Garcia cliche here. And yeah, they're just reusing the things here. I'm kind of disappointed that they're going to reuse the same situation on those stories. Tumatakbo them. They're going to, screw you. I let them attack me para matago ko yung sekreto and yung plano para magulat din kayo pag nag-reveal na ako. That's what MJF's doing. Ayun. So, that's a swerve for MJF. I'm fine for that. But it is what it is. It's a swerve for me. Gilid yun sa isang swerve na malalaman nyo din in the right time. Okay? Then, finally, on Impact, let's talk about Impact real quick. So, Heat and Rhino won the tag titles on last week's Impact. Then, exhibition titles, no vacated since Frankie Kazarian cashed in his option C. Then, the exhibition title tournament is ongoing na. We're going to give more updates once the development and the updated brackets is now up. Okay, so that's basically it for our talks here on the podcast. Sorry, it's been a short one, ulit. We'll see you next week for a longer episode and a better audio. Sorry about the audio nga ulit. Kasi I'm still using my earphones. Ayan. So, may picks of the week nga pala. So, may picks of superstar of the week. As far as I know, I'm not sure about the superstar of the week. To be honest, I picked Ilya. Si Ilya nga. I picked Ilya Dragunov. Then the woman of the week is Roxanne Perez. The match of the week is the NXT Championship from NXT Halloween Havoc. So that's it for my review on Halloween Havoc. Let me know your thoughts on the event on your social media platforms, all of the socials of the podcast. It's at the MTG Show Pod. Ayan. So yeah, that's it for our podcast. Follow the podcast, all of the socials at MTG Show Pod. Don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel. You can follow us as well on StockMed and the rest. You can now donate and support the podcast on Gank. And yeah, for more podcasts, visit thebongph.com and you can support us via Bong Collective on socials at the Bong PH. Yan, you can listen to us by Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and the rest of the podcast platforms. And yeah, please support MWF. MWF is coming. Road to, ayun, malapit na ang Road to Noche Buena. They just announced one match before we start this episode. It's gonna be Fabio Makisig challenging Jake De Leon for the MWF Championship at Noche Buena in a Manila Rules match. If you can watch it on their socials, you can watch it. That's the exclusive clip that we got on MWF. Then, support then the upcoming that event then ng FPW. I think, ano ang pangalan ng event na yun? Mawala na yung mawala na lahat, wag lang ang wrestling. Tama ba? Magta-take place yun on November 20. Available na rin yun sa ticket2me.net. And yep, the support Philippine wrestling as the same as how we support the local or yung ibang wrestling scene lalo na sa US and sa Japan. I hope you all are supporting Philippine wrestling as well. Again, I'm sorry for that mic. I hope na next week may bago na ulit akong microphone cable na magagamit for the upcoming episode of the podcast next week. As we predict the upcoming Crown Jewel pay-per-view, yun lang. So that's it. Stay safe, stay wrestle. See you on the next episode of the podcast. We're out. Bye-bye.